Tungdil, come closer.
The power that the old High King radiated when he called the assembly to order has drained away from him. His body is sunken in the throne, but his eyes are alert and interested as he looks at you.
The lost son returns to his people. Thank Vracus. Tell us what you learned on your journey.
You describe your adventure down to the smallest detail. Neither the king nor his advisor interrupts you. From time to time they nod, as though they were already aware of certain facts. Their brows become more furrowed with every passing minute. When you are finished with your story, you also have some questions.
You know what? Let's try something. I'm gonna start playing with the gamepad, since it's already plugged in anyway, and I can toggle back and forth like this. The game's getting really frustrating to control, and I'm starting to wonder if that's because the game's designed first and foremost for a gamepad and for consoles, because everything about this seems like it'd be really intuitive with just joysticks, and just rotating a camera with a joystick, targeting your spells with a joystick, because everything's weirdly like radial based, like radial spells that are all cone based from your current position, and you can't control the camera directly. Instead, you just switch to individual characters. Like, I think all of this will make more sense with the gamepad if I do that. But yeah, we want Tungdil to become the leader if we can, because he's a reasonable person that tries to bring people together. Whereas, and the entire kingdom's under threat by an outside force that's so powerful that people need to come together to fight it. And the other potential king is clearly willing to go attack other members of the country instead of uniting against the outside force. And the fact that this apparent evidence that the elves are in on it is very unlikely to be true, because we've seen elves get obliterated and reanimated into horrible corpses and stuff like that. So if either the elves that betrayed us were under the control of the enemy, or the supposed elves, it could be that the elves may be mistaken for elves, since those don't seem to be the same thing. Or it could be that the evidence is completely forged, a complete forgery sent in to trick us, because of course you'd want to sow dissent in your enemies.
What game is being played here?
Gandagar, as king of the Firstlings, is to supersede me as High King, but his mind is poisoned with hatred towards the elves. He would probably win a war against them, but he would weaken us, and Girdlegard would not be helped by this. I was hoping for a great coalition with the elves, and even with the thirdlings. I would have given anything to start the negotiations. In times of great need, only the common goal can count.
And which role have you planned for me?
Well, with you as a second aspirant, certain possibilities of protocol open up to us.
I don't want to appear ungrateful, and I'm happy to finally be among my people, but I will not ascend the throne. I hardly know anything about our customs and laws. Everything that I know, I have learned from books that Lot-Yonan gave me. There must be more suitable heirs than me.
Your renouncement honors you, but to be honest, you never had a claim. To stop Gandagar, we had to stall for time.
Lot-Yonan helped us with our little story. We don't even know if you are a Fourthling.
The king's advisor misinterprets your unbelieving gaze and quickly adds,
We're only being as deceitful as goblins for one solitary reason: to stave off possible harm to our people.
You feel as though you've been hit in the stomach. If this is true, not only have you lost your newly found kingdom, but Master Lot-Yonan also didn't see it as necessary to inaugurate you in the conspiracy.
Your plan has a flaw. Even if I were to line up, I couldn't win. No one on the council will vote for me.
You don't have to win.
Ballard points to the Steelies in the throne room.
It's written in our laws that the High King can oppose an heir if he isn't elected unanimously. He can then demand a duel or a contest in order to determine the winner.
Such a contest could take weeks, if not months, and it would win us some time.
Why is Gandagar so full of hatred towards the elves?
His father and brother were murdered by elves. At least that's what's claimed.
No one knows the truth, just as no one knows how true this report about the firstlings is. But isn't it strange that this letter has turned up now, just when it can play into the hands of the elf-haters? Many dwarves' hatred towards the elves is great, perhaps even greater than their honesty.
I understand why you want to prevent a High King Gandagar. You will be blind to our real problems.
Gandagar's only liability is that he lets Bislipper whisper dark thoughts in his ear. The advisor is the problem, not the king.
A problem that I am fortunate enough not to have.
The High King smiles weakly at his advisor.
Gandagar is a good dwarf and a good king, and I am certain he could also be a good High King if he was free of Bislipper's lies and false advice.
What kind of contest would you have us compete in? Gandagar is surely superior to me in many things.
Everyone in the council will write a task on a piece of paper, and from them the contest will be drawn.
And this only once you have made a speech and have won over as many as possible in the council to your side. The more sympathetic the council is towards you, the higher the chances of a contest that fits your abilities.
Speech? You're beginning to like this whole thing less and less.
Is this really the best for our people? If you cannot dissuade Gandagar from carrying out his plans, it could end in a fraternal war.
Don't worry. We'll open up his eyes and he will recognize the malice of his feigned friend. We just need time, and you must gain it for us.
All right then. I am ready to do it. But I will need all of your support.
You can be certain of it, Tungdil.
Belendalin smiles at you encouragingly.
You say Andakai may have found a way to defeat Nodon, and she suspects that the Magus is possessed by a demon from the outer lands. It may be possible to kill this demon with an axe called Keenfire. I have commissioned armor that is worthy of a prince. It will be delivered to your chamber by sunrise.
You say goodbye with a queasy feeling in your stomach. You always thought that you were articulate, but the prospect of having to make a speech in front of the large council doesn't exactly fill you with elation.
Running around with the left joystick using A to click on things.
The coal fire is lit when the kingdoms meet for council. It has lain dormant much too long, until it was finally lit again a few days ago.
How do you rotate the camera? With the right joystick? Well, of course you do. Yeah, this is clearly made to be a console game, and it was a mistake to try to play it with keyboard and mouse, wasn't it? Look, everything's so natural. Select is the Game of Thrones, really. So select is your quest log. Start is your pause menu. Y is this whole menu. Yeah, it's all. And X is the what can I click on button. Alright.
Vracus, who made the dwarves of stone, has himself been hewn from stone by these self-same dwarves. A masterly piece of work, like one of which only the masons of the secondlings can still accomplish today.
It's interesting that in a lot of forms of fiction, the dwarves are often a race that pride themselves on being straightforward and so on, and they think that deceit is something that the elves do and things like that. But then, of course, it's a recurring thing that the storyline of dwarves often involves some king that's being replaced by a series of different people that want to be the next king, but then there's a bunch of illicit activities and schemes and so on that are involved with the process of replacing said king, which contradicts the straightforwardness that the dwarves themselves think they have. So it's interesting there that it seems to be a recurring thing about dwarf canon that oftentimes the dwarves pride themselves on their straightforwardness, but the straightforwardness itself is not necessarily as true as they themselves think that it is.
The High King's advisor has the build of a warrior. His eyes are like those of a bird of prey, and you can see a keen intellect behind them. Even for a dwarf, High King Gundrabur is very old. His long white beard suggests 500 or more cycles. He seems weak, but when you talk to him, you feel an aura of grandeur.
That's impressive if he has a 500-year beard, because people can just lose their beards sooner or later, right? I mean, having a tongue dill, they're just beards. I know that dwarves tend to not shave them, but things just happen to things, especially when they have a giant amount of hair and it's a warrior race. Hey, friends.
Ah, Your Highness!
The High King and his advisor don't know where I come from either. But they only want to use me to delay Gandagar's coronation and ultimately prevent war with the elves.
Whatever happens, we will stand by your side, Scholar.
You're not sure whether the moral support of your friends will be much use in a contest with Gandagar, but it feels good not having to go through the whole thing on your own.
High King Gundrabur seems... well...
Old? He is ancient, even by dwarvish standards. He has been old for as long as I can remember.
Ballard has taken care of most matters for dozens of cycles. But Gundrabur always has the final word. His mind is younger than all of ours, I tell ya.
Ballard should become High King. I was there when a runt took his arm. He still managed to kill half a dozen of them afterwards. What fighting spirit! We had to drag him off the battlefield.
The law requires that a firstling or a fourthling must be chosen as the new king of all dwarves. And, as the firstlings didn't turn up...
For the first time you have the chance to appreciate the beauty of the place. You suddenly forget what you wanted to say.
I've never seen such masterful masonry. To be honest, I didn't even know that stone could be worked in such a way.
Ha ha ha! The secondlings are the best masons of all the kingdoms. That's how Fracas made us. Well, he made some of us into warriors too.
Boandal glances at his brother and he laughs with satisfaction while looking around the hall himself.
I think I'll continue to look around.
Don't get lost. And tonight, we will finally drink a lovely dark ale in the glowing anvil.
I wonder if we'll get a proper explanation of the firstlings, secondlings, thirdlings, and fourthlings and stuff. I don't think we've gotten an explicit breakdown necessarily. It seems especially oddly scattershot the idea that firstlings and fourthlings are supposed to be king, specifically, and not any of the other groups. I wonder what led to that exact idea. And also, they said the firstlings didn't show up. That makes me wonder if this storyline might lead to of discovering Tungdil might be a firstling, and maybe he can fill that role.
You can't see the bottom. When the secondlings named the Blue Range their home, there was nothing here but hard rock and a few small caves. Fantastic.
That's a lot of tunneling, ain't it? Is that a ramp? That is a ramp. I was like, why is half this thing missing? Nope, can't walk through that. Well, alrighty then. Off I go. Is there any follow-up dialogue at all?
I think I first need to organize my thoughts before I can talk to them.
Alright, so we're done with them. I think it's just time to go look around, maybe find a rest. Can I go down here? No. That's a steep staircase, isn't it? Kind of. No, yeah, that's definitely a steep staircase. That's horrifying. Wow, yeah. Is it going down faster than it goes forward? I think it is. That's terrifying, because there's not even like a rail or anything. And look how big my feet are compared to those steps. That actually seems like a mistake in modeling. Like they made the staircase wrong in their design, because dwarves couldn't walk on that. Look at that. That's horrifyingly steep. is visually distinctive, but yeah, it should be going forward. It should be moving horizontally more per step for sure. The steps all should be thicker. One tiny misstep and you would just go sliding down that thing with no ability to even slightly catch yourself. And there's no guardrail, and dwarf feet are like 3 times as long as those steps are. That's horrifying. You're not supposed to look at it for that long, probably. You're supposed to just kind of run past it. Another dead end. Yep, as expected, the bumpers change characters. I'm sure you press the bumpers to change characters, then press the 4 face buttons to do your 4 attacks. It's just so oddly specific that there's 4 attacks that makes perfect sense. That'd be the 4 X, Y, A, B.
Andakai, what is it?
I came to return these books to you, Tungdil. Luckily, I was able to make sense of most of it.
You observed how the Mager took time to study the books during your escape.
They are records from the Outer Lands. They tell of demonic beings from Barren Ground who can take possession of humans and invest them with great power.
Immortality, for example?
The Mager nods seriously.
They speak of an axe forged by the Undergrounders called Keenfire. It is said to have the power to cut through the flesh and bone of the living and completely destroy the demonic spirit deep within their soul.
So you think a demon from the Outer Lands has taken possession of Nudin?
He looked very different when I encountered him in Parista, and he rose from the dead even though you cut off his head. That can't be explained purely through the power of the perished land.
And he wanted to prevent these books from falling into our hands. That would only make sense if Keenfire had the power to defeat him. Where is this Keenfire?
I don't know if this weapon was ever forged. It requires rare materials and masterful craftsmanship. The purest, hardest steel, stone barbs decorated with runes, a hilt of Sigurdaisy wood, inlays made of all the noble metals, the blades studded with diamonds, smithed in the hottest forge.
We are dwarves. We have the most talented craftsmen.
And you have the Sigurdaisy wood. It is amongst the objects in your rucksack, which is fortunate as there are no more Sigurdaisies in Girdlegard. But even if you manage to forge the axe, it might all be just a fairy tale. It's too little to wager our lives on.
Do you know these Undergrounders?
I have never heard of the Undergrounders, but I've been to the Outer Lands before.
It must be terrible. The hordes of Tion have marched from there against our strongholds for thousands of years.
It's not as bad as you think. It is certainly safer than a land in which a magus possessed by a demon is on the loose.
We can get all the missing materials, as well as a gem cutter, here in the stronghold. After all, Gandagar and his fourthlings are here, a stonemason from the secondlings, and I can smith.
The Mager looks at you thoughtfully, and for a short time it seems as though your enthusiasm is rubbing off on her. But then she says,
I wish you good luck, Tungdil.
You still want to leave Girdlegard, but what will happen to your realm and all the other realms?
I admire your optimism, my friend, but it isn't wise to stand in the way of a rolling stone. I don't wish to give up my realm, but I would only be prolonging the suffering unnecessarily.
But
you don't want to let the last Mager in Girdlegard go. Unfortunately, you can't think of anything that could cause her to stay.
Many thanks, Honourable Mager, for all that you have done.
Well, that's a bit cynical, isn't it? Well, goodbye, friends. We're done having an extended party member, I guess. We're down to having less than the cap of 4.
Sigurdaisy wood. Very rare. I guess Lot Yonan wanted it to examine or experiment with. A variety of cheeses, pickled cave mushrooms, toasted vault moss, and some smoked sausage. Mmm.
The intense smell of the cheese makes your mouth begin to water. You are looking forward to the first proper bed for weeks. You undress and lie down. Before you know it, your eyes close and you fall asleep.
Are we gonna get another nasty
When
visit?
your new armor is brought to you the next morning, you can hardly believe your eyes. However, as a smith, you can't stand the fact that you haven't contributed anything to it, and decide to add some inlays.
Even one who wears the armour of a prince can still be a farrier underneath it, don't you think, Tungdil Bolafar?
He seems friendly.
What are you doing in here?
Ignoring your question, Bislipur eyes you very exactly before he speaks.
So, you want to be one of our kingdom? A foundling brought up by a wizard? One wouldn't think it possible. And I don't think it possible either. There is no proof of your origin, and Gandagar's the council on his side. Why don't you spare yourself the disgrace and just not turn up in front of the council? Put your scheme to bed, and we will take you into our kingdom. We will give you everything you need your whole life long. In exchange, you support Gandagar instead of challenging him.
Proof? Oh, you mean like your letter that has been found after 1,000 cycles and makes the elves responsible for the fall of the firstlings?
It is no secret that the elves are deceitful, and what could possibly be more suited to get one over on us than letting the perished land in and presenting us as the scapegoat?
The elves have been displaced by the perished land and are now almost eradicated.
I said they are deceitful, not wise.
Yep, it's just like I was saying. Oh yes, the elves are so evil and deceitful and lie so much, unlike us dwarves who are definitely not lying at all with the story we have about the elves.
Children of the Smith cannot be silenced.
You are a dwarf, I confess, but no fourthling can remember a dwarf child ever going missing.
And you know thousands of the fourthlings personally, and know exactly where they live in the mountains, what they're planning, or what small tragedies take place in their lives?
You have a sense that all the long evenings in the library and debating with Lot Yonan weren't for nothing, as Bislipur struggles for a reply, then lets it go.
And what if I don't withdraw my candidacy?
You wish to stand against your own king? A stray dwarf offending a deserving leader such as Gandagar through his claim? No one in the Brown Range will like that. Prepare yourself for life as an outsider among the fourthlings.
You have had enough of this dwarf. He makes you feel uneasy, or worse still.
Get out!
A humanized bastard will not issue me orders. Know your place, false dwarf.
Well, that's nasty. Do we have molten gold stuck to our hand now?
Some of the gold has left a coin-sized mark on the back of your hand. It hurts, but you like the idea that a bit of the metal you love is now part of you.
Okay, don't get weird. Don't turn into a splicer here.
The armor has been made by a master. Over the chainmail is steel plate, alloyed with gold in many places, which certainly appeals to you. There are also several decorative elements made of stone to honor its origin in the kingdom of the best stonemasons. You had just finished setting the last inlay, the seal of Lot Yonan, who brought you up and is gone, when Bislipur interrupted you.
Not only is it worthy of a king and fits me like a glove, but it should also offer me additional protection in battle.
There's a change in appearance right there. Yep, that makes us look the part more than the guy that was just running around in, let's call it stout Legend of Zelda gear.
Garen found an answer to the threat. Keenfire. No matter how difficult it is to forge it, we must do it. We don't know of anything else that could injure a demon.
Well, we won't be spending food supplies for a bit while we hang out around here.
That is why I, too, lodge a claim to the throne and why I think I am the more capable heir.
Thank you for your speech, Tungdil Bolafar. The council may now ask questions.
We skipped it? That was odd. Call up Bislipur, the secondling and the fourthling. I'm sure we have to talk to all of them, right?
Bislipur?
Nothing you say will convince anyone here. You didn't grow up amongst us, and no one knows if you really are a fourthling. I do not believe there has ever been a more unworthy heir to the throne of the High King. You are just wasting our time.
Oh, I didn't know you were the spokesperson for everyone at this assembly, Bislipur. I had the impression that every dwarf is capable of forming their own opinion.
Absolutely.
Hear, hear!
He's right, you know.
Keep out of it, Bislipur.
Yes, the dwarf from the Secondling Kingdom over there.
You say that a war against the elves would be madness. But how can such a young dwarf as you judge that? You've hardly seen anything of the world, has he?
If we get drawn into a conflict against the elves, then we are no better than the Alfar who have fought with the elves for thousands of cycles.
He's right.
Well, of course we're better than the Alfar.
Outrageous.
Yes? Your question?
Just so I get this right, you want to forge a weapon that is described in a book of fairy tales from the perished land to kill a demon that none of us has ever seen?
I have most definitely seen it. Goimgar, Yellow Belly, Shimmerbeard.
We have seen the perished land with our own eyes, and its master Nodon could not be killed. Many have died for the books in which it is written how Keenfire can be made, and the Magus did all he could to get his hands on the two halves made of Sigurd Daisy wood. Those are the facts, whether you like them or not. These problems won't solve themselves, so I ask you, is it the dwarven way to step aside and do nothing, or is it our way to act?
To act?
We don't hide away.
If the humans won't stop the perished land, then we will.
We shouldn't get drawn in.
Let's show the Magus the strength of the dwarves.
I have heard enough. The council has heard the words of both candidates and must now make its decision. Those of you who wish to see Tungdil Bolafar, the returning son from the Fourthling Kingdom, as my successor, raise your axe. And those who wish to see Gandagar Silverbeard from the Silverbeards, the king of the Fourthlings, as my successor. Gandagar has received more votes.
Very good. Ha ha!
Excellent.
Here's to Gandagar!
Long live our new High King! However, the result was not unanimous, and as acting High King, I avail myself of my right to demand a contest between the aspirants.
What is this?
But he won the ballot.
It's the rules. The High King has the right to do so.
Respect! He is still the High King.
Silence!
You have heard the High King's command. Write down your challenge for the aspirants. Are you ready? The one that masters this task first will become the High King. It is an expedition. The trial is to lead a group to forge the axe Keenfire in the Grey Range, which can then be used to fight against the Magus Nod On.
An expedition into the perished land?
Ha ha! Brilliant!
You can't be serious.
That's what I call a worthy challenge, don't you think?
I call it luck, Scholar. Of all the challenges, Bislapur draws this one. Ha ha ha.
Yes. Luck.
So the objective is just to do the thing that we wanted to do anyway. So even if he becomes king, he still has to do the objective.
My king, don't demand this of me. Why me, of all people?
You are one of my best gem cutters, and I promise to support him. It should be a fair contest. Or should I break my word just because of you?
But...
You will go, Goimgar Shimmerbeard. Do not put us to shame. Follow Tungdil's instructions. Go! And come back in good health.
And with that, our group is complete.
Who have you chosen as Mason?
Good day, gentlemen.
Bavragar? The old drunkard?
Old drunkard? He assured me he's the best stonemason here. The High King himself sent him.
Well, I said I was precisely the stonemason you need. I didn't exactly say I was sent by the High King.
You let yourself be tricked by a drunkard.
I don't want him with us.
Rest assured, Boindil, I too could imagine better company. But Tungdil gave me his word.
Yes, I gave you my word. And as long as you are capable of doing the stonework needed for Keenfire, you are welcome. Girdleguard is at stake here.
I wish you no ill fortune, Tungdil, but also no good fortune. The throne belongs to me, and through my victory, Vracus will show the clans.
The task is clear to the contenders? The first to forge Keenfire and bring it back here has proven his abilities and will be our new High King to lead us in battle against Nod On.
It will take months to complete the task. The journey to the firstlings alone is a long and dangerous business.
Dangerous, yes, but not necessarily long. Do you know the old tunnel system that connects the Dwarven kingdoms?
Tunnels are all well and good, but why should we get there so much quicker under the ground than over it?
A knowing smile plays on the mouth of the advisor.
Well...
I didn't comment this at first, but during the vote, it was a little awkward that Boindle's idle animation involves raising an axe over and over again. It looked like he voted for both sides when he wasn't voting at all. He's like, "Who wants the other guy to be king?" Boindle raises his axe. Whoops.
Pretty impressive what our forefathers achieved here, isn't it?
The kingdoms all work together. If we do the same, nothing is impossible.
Hear, hear.
Hey, we've got new party members. Also, this is a really cool visual to go with a conversation.
I still don't understand why you tricked me and why you were so set on coming with us.
I have been the master of stone for more than 200 sun cycles. My work is admired all over Girdleguard. There has never been a better secondling mason than me. But today, I don't want to be remembered as a drunkard with the chisel trembling in my hand, but as Bavragor Amethyst, undefeated master of stone who brought Keenfire to life. One last masterpiece.
I hope you understand me asking, but there seems to be bad blood between you and Boindil.
It's nothing that will endanger our mission. We've just always hated each other.
There's more behind it than commonplace hatred.
Bavragor doesn't react. His gaze is directed towards events that took place a long time ago.
You really should rein in your drinking. We need you in good shape.
There are some who say I'm only the master of beer and not the master of stone anymore. But don't worry, I haven't forgotten. I can't forget, no matter how much I drink. I wonder why we haven't seen any sign of Gandagar recently. Perhaps they took a wrong turn somewhere. I'm sure we'll reach the Fifthling Kingdom before them.
Say they're going the wrong way, but we're looping.
We're not on the way to the Fifthlings. We are on the way to the Firstlings. We're probably already under the land of the Custodian.
The Firstlings? Why?
The Firstlings have been the best smiths in Girdlegard since the Fifthlings were wiped out. Only they can alloy Teonium and Palladium, which are actually mutually repellent. Anyway, we could use all the help we can get in the battle against Nodon, and...
Well, now there's that to deal with.
Damn. Goimgar.
It burns!
We won't get further this way, Scholar. What now?
It's all your fault, you imposter. I was nearly killed, and for what?
It is good that you are still alive. We need you for our mission.
So you can steal a throne that doesn't belong to you?
Hatred glints in the gem-cutter's eyes, and for a moment you think he's going to attack you with the courage of desperation.
I'm not interested in the title of High King. I am trying to save Girdlegard. Even if you don't believe anything else, you must believe this.
I don't have to believe anything. I am here against my will. My own thoughts are my only remaining right.
Enough! Gather up all the materials we can still save. If we manage to reach the Firstlings, we can get anything we're missing there. And it should be less than 200 miles to their stronghold.
Oh geez, how big is this? So I'm guessing we're gonna have a giant map that's now underground, the equivalent of what we saw before for traveling.
After you have gathered together the materials, you begin to search for a way out. And after a sweaty climb, you reach a door adorned with runes. From here, you enter a large cave with a waterfall covering a sun-drenched opening. You walk through the waterfall one after another, and after the unintentional shower, you find yourselves in Wayan, near the enchanted realm of Oramira. You find yourselves on a plateau, and the river which falls as a waterfall here hides the entrance to the underground rail network. It then flows past a forest, behind which you can see a wall and tiled roofs. You check the map.
That must be Mithridalia. We'll go through the forest to the city and see if we can refresh our supplies and buy some ponies.
Okay, so not underground. Not quite. Hey, Boindal leveled up. But Boindal already was leveled. So we've got Bavragor and Goemgar. Goemgar is the highest level character. That's the opposite of what I expected, honestly. And I just learned what the other characters did. So... there we go. So even this screen makes perfect sense for controller too. So there's one objective, way down there in the Firstling Kingdom, in the snow. Is this even attached to the map of the previous game? There's there's the volcano, so this is the starting area. And here's the desert. Oh yeah, the underground stuff took us through the mountain range. That's something, I suppose. But went from there to here. Don't know how much time passed in the meantime. Hey, they even gave us bonus supplies. This place is beautiful. And populated, so it'll be more eventful than our trip to the desert was.